saying, I need help. I don't know where to start. I don't know that much about it. If anything, I need help.
I know you won't leave me lonely. Never, never. I said I know you won't.
What's going on, my There's Hope family? It's Dallas here. Welcome back to the channel. It's a midweek. Got another topic for you. Going to share on today about how we can move our life forward, or in other words, ways and things that are necessary to help us move our life forward. Wrote a few things down here, and the first thing I wanted to start off with is honesty. You know, there's a saying that says, in order to get help, the first thing a person must do is be willing to confess or tell the truth. So, likewise, with moving our life forward, we have to be honest in our assessment of ourselves. We have to know where we're strong, and we have to be honest about that, and we have to know where we're weak. It's important for us to be honest about that. It's without being honest, we can't go anywhere because we'll never really address the elephant in the room. We're always avoid it because we're not willing to look in front of the mirror and be honest with ourselves about what we're doing, not doing, what we need to do, and what we need to stop doing, things of that nature. So the first thing to move our life forward is we need honesty. All right. The next thing I wrote down is we need family and friends. And I do know that we all come from different situations, different backgrounds. So some of us have great families, strong families. Some don't have great families, strong families. Some of us have strong friendships, long lasting friendships, and some of us don't. I believe we can have either or, but it's better to have both because our family know us in ways that our friends don't. So there are things that our family can speak to us about ourselves, about what we struggle with as a family, and our friends can speak to us about things that we struggle with in terms of that they see from a friendship lens, and they can, in that sense, speak into our lives in a different way. But in terms of moving forward, we need both because in strong families, typically there's someone older or someone who has done life before us in a way that they can give us advice, in a way that they can share their wisdom, in a way that they can say, hey, I did this before. Consider this, consider that, avoid this, avoid that. And with friendships, how I have been able to move my life forward with friendships is them either introducing me to something that I want to get into that they're already doing, or we both want to do it. So we journey together. So we have like this sense of partnership. So, for example, I had prayed a prayer last week about some things. I prayed to God, and I tell you, no lie, spoke to my friend Friday, and he mentioned the exact things that I have been praying about. No lie. And that's why, and I remember just sharing with him, like, bro, I've been praying about this. I've been praying about moving my life forward in this way. And it was something that he had already been working on, of course, but he was talking to me about it. And I really believe it was a God thing. And now that part of my life, that thing I've been praying for has already started to roll forward. So another piece to moving our life forward is having strong family and friendships in our life, right? The next thing I say is important is it's important to be humble, to have a sense of humility. And when you look up the definition of that word, it just simply means to have a modest or a low view of one's own importance. So it's not thinking much more of ourselves than we need to. And that's just the practical definition. A faith-based definition or biblical definition is someone who's dependent on the Lord and not on themselves. And it's important for us to be humble because, in a practical sense, because we need help. We don't know it all. And one of the things I often tell my mentees and my siblings or nieces and nephews is we don't have to reinvent the wheel. If someone has already done it, no need for us to go out there and struggle and try to build it from the ground up. Don't reinvent the wheel unless it's necessary, unless you're the first person to do it. But even then, maybe you can find a mentor, a mentee, or someone that's done it. But you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can be humble enough to say, hey, have you done this before? If you've done it, I would love to pick your brain, get some things off of you so I can, get to where I'm striving to go. Another thing about being humble is saying, I need help. I don't know where to start. I don't know that much about it. If anything, I need help. Humility helps us express those things. All right. And the last thing I want to say is it would be remiss of me to not mention this because I just believe this is the key component to life in general is we have to have faith. And that verse I'd like to share in regards to that is just Hebrews 11:6, where it talks about how without faith it's impossible to please God. Because if if we believe that there's a God, we have to trust in Him. We have to diligently seek Him, and He will reward us in that way. So when it comes to moving our life forward, we need faith. We need to know that there's a God in whom created us. He has a purpose for us. And there are things that are stirring up in us in terms of inspiration that we want to do to move our life forward. Who better to go to and pray to and ask for help and guidance and connection to than God? So I would say faith is the biggest of all of these things. So again, honesty, we need to be honest with ourselves about where we are, where we'd like to be, what we need to do, what we need to stop doing, et cetera, et cetera. We need strong family and friendships who can speak into our lives, who know us in intimate ways, who can move us forward by either introducing us to something or journeying with us as we learn something new or go after an aspiration. The next thing is just being humble. Having the proper view of ourselves and understanding that we are in the totality of this thing, we're relying on God and not really depending on ourselves. That doesn't excuse us, from the work. It's just a matter of disposition, right? Then lastly, we got to have faith. We have to believe in God. We have to know He created us with a purpose and that we are to seek Him and He will reward those efforts. All right. Hey, listen, as I always say, I hope I've shared something with you. I know this is a more practical video. I hope I've shared something with you that will speak to your life in terms of moving it forward, because that's important. We have to move our lives forward. It's difficult, it's uncomfortable, it's frustrating at times, but it's all part of moving our life forward, that process and moving our life forward, going after new things, taking on new habits, striving for bigger goals. We got to move our life forward. So if I share something with you, that's great. If you know all of this, that's great. Share it with someone else. And as always, no matter what you've experienced in the past, what you're facing currently, or what you may face in the future, when it comes to moving your life forward, you got to know that there's hope.
You better find that rock, stand on it, be strong.